To start this, I need to say that there is almost no accountability for members of Congress when they do insider trading. There's laws on the books that technically ban it, like the Stock Act from 2012, but congresspeople are resourceful enough to find ways around the rules. And even when someone is caught doing it, there isn't a strong enforcement mechanism to punish these people. There just isn't. The enforcement is just so weak. And I absolutely despise when elected officials are not held accountable for profiting off of others' misfortunes. Both Democrats and Republicans are guilty of this. It's not unique to one side. Corruption runs deep in both parties, which is probably why there hasn't been a true outright ban and no enforcement of punishment. If Democrats and Republicans in Congress agree on one thing, it's that they believe they should be able to manipulate the market and then move stock before the general public finds out about an upcoming decision that will impact the market. And then they believe they should be able to reap the benefits when the market opens up the next morning. It's pathetic. And regardless of your party affiliation, you should be in support of banning and enforcing a punishment upon congresspeople when they do this. Over the last couple of weeks, the stock market has taken some dramatic turns. For a few-day period last week, the stock market crashed so much that it was almost as bad, if not worse, than the Great Recession in 2009, and certainly one of the worst weeks in modern American history. The main culprit of this is Trump's threat to enact large tariffs on nearly every major nation, igniting a trade war that has created uncertainty for investors. So this is what happened. The stock market dropped historically fast. It stayed that way for several days, and then Trump called off the tariffs. He backed out of implementing across-the-board tariffs on nearly every major nation. And Trump's backing out of the tariffs led to more confidence from investors, which led to the market almost recovering back to what it was. There's evidence that shows that Donald Trump, several of his billionaire buddies, and several congresspeople, including Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, the evidence shows that they dumped stock before the crash, invested during it, and then reaped the benefits, which amounted to huge profits from their insider trading. So let's take a look at some of this evidence we have. This is all public information, by the way. This chart shows that Marjorie Taylor Greene, it looks like she bought this stock when the price was extremely low, at its lowest point, and since then it's gone up and up and up. Here's another damning graphic. So NASDAQ call volume spiked minutes before the 90-day tariff pause was announced. That's very sketchy. Here's a clip from Chris Murphy, and he's got some great insight as to what possibly happened here.
Questions about the tariff announcements today, who benefited and who made money. And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up, and anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs? Which of his Mar-a-Lago friends or his billionaire advisors were able to capitalize on that inside information? Why did Trump send out that post to his supporters earlier in the day? The bottom line is that the chaotic nature of this tariff policy, with Trump's position changing every single hour, gives ample opportunity for any individual who has early access to information about the White House's change in position to make boatloads of money, either by investing at the right time or pulling their money out of the market at the right time. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks, and we should get to the bottom of it.
I mean, you guys probably know this, but Trump in his first term broke the record for the amount of Wall Street CEOs and billionaires appointed to his cabinet. Trump just broke that record again. He broke his own record this second time around. He's hired more billionaires, more Wall Street CEOs as a part of his cabinet than in any administration in history. There's rampant corruption going on in the White House and obviously in Congress. This video is very damning to Trump. So it says Trump openly boasted at the Oval Office about his billionaire buddies making boatloads of money on yesterday's insider trading scheme that they all orchestrated in broad daylight. So let's see what Trump had to say about his billionaire buddies making profit off of the recent changes in the stock market.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
So he pointed at this guy and said he made $2.5 billion today, and then he pointed at another guy and said he made $900 million. Interesting. Senator Adam Schiff said, "Who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs? And people are cashing in." He said he's going to open up an investigation as to whether there was insider trading involved. Senator Elizabeth Warren also supports an investigation. Hakeem Jeffries, who is one of the weakest Democrats in the history of the Democratic Party, said, "Let me be clear. We will hold extreme MAGA Republicans accountable for any corruption, insider trading, and stock market manipulation." All right, Jeffries, we'll see if you do that. AOC, of course, has something to say about this. She is one of the strongest opposition forces in the Democratic Party right now. She's doing a wonderful job, in my opinion, at breaking down just how illegal and horrible so many of the Trump administration's actions have been for everyday people, cutting Medicare or threatening to cut Medicare and Social Security, cutting the Department of Education, cutting of the Meals on Wheels, cutting of the FAA, cutting of USAID, which helps people worldwide. Like all these horrible cuts to our social safety net and to essential programs and things here. And she's been doing the best job, along with Bernie Sanders, at being a strong force of opposition to the Trump regime. So let's see what she's got to say.
Trump seems to be doing, from tweeting people to buy stock and then later announcing his development on taxes. If people are pissed about insider trading here at the House, look at what's happening at the White House right now and with the Republican Party.
Do you think he knew what he was doing when he sent out that message about stocks before he made the announcement?
It sure seemed like he did. I don't think that it was a coincidence. I don't think that Trump just coincidentally said buy stocks and then shortly later made an announcement that dramatically inflated and dramatically raised a lot of these asset prices.
So I referenced earlier the Stock Act that was signed into law in 2012. And I said that there wasn't really a strong enforcement mechanism to keep anyone accountable. This account said, "This act requires congressional members to file financial disclosures of their stock trades within 30 days. And by the way, I did some research into the history of this. No one has been held accountable to release these financial disclosures when it matters. When there's been claims of insider trading, there is no enforcement mechanism to force these people, to force these congresspeople to release their financial disclosures of their stock trades." And it says on this tweet here, but I looked it up and I confirmed it. There is a $200 penalty on a congressperson if they don't release their financial disclosure on their stock trades within 30 days. Just a $200 penalty. That's it. That's the only enforcement mechanism. They get a little slap on the wrist, and the $200 ain't shit to these people. This is crazy. To wrap this up, if any elected official is caught insider trading, they should be impeached immediately. Republican, Democrat, third party, independent, doesn't matter. They have insider knowledge on major decisions that are going to greatly impact stock value. This should not be a partisan issue. But you might be asking why I'm only showing the examples of Republicans who are about to be investigated for insider trading. And my answer to that is, if there is evidence of Democratic congresspeople insider trading, I fully support them being investigated for it as well. It's just that they're not doing it. It's the Republicans.